The ground here is warm. It has been warm for 60 million years. Not from the sun, from what's underneath. Yellowstone sits on a supervolcano, a magma plume 3 miles below the surface, building pressure since before your kind went extinct. The ground here doesn't freeze in winter. It doesn't cool in autumn. It has been exhaling heat for 640,000 years without stopping once. You were born on it. The egg cracked at 4 a.m. You weighed 4 kilograms. You fit inside a backpack. Your mother, 11 meters long, 7 tons, pressed her snout against the nest for exactly 40 seconds. Then she walked away. She wasn't abandoning you. She was trusting you with everything she knew about this world. And everything she knew was eat, grow, survive. You are Tyrannosaurus rex. 1 meter long, 4 kilograms. The most dangerous thing to enter Yellowstone in 66 million years, just hatched in a hole in the ground. Except you don't know that yet. Fossil record says you hatched from a 30-centimeter egg after 16 to 18 months of incubation. Your first meal was a lizard. You caught it in the first hour. Your bite force at hatching, 14 newtons, enough to crush a finger. Not enough to stop a wolf. The wolves were here before you arrived. Yellowstone has approximately 120 gray wolves distributed across 10 packs. You don't know about packs. What you know is movement, and these things move in groups. The first time you saw one, you were 3 weeks old, chasing a ground squirrel near the Lamar Valley. The wolf was 80 meters away. It looked at you. You looked at it. Neither of you moved for 11 seconds. Then it turned and walked away. You were too small to be worth the effort. This will not always be true. By month 6, you are 1.8 meters long, 12 kilograms. Your leg bones are growing at a rate paleontologists call catastrophic. Your femur extending by millimeters per day. Your entire skeleton remodeling itself faster than most modern mammals grow in a year. The fossil record shows stress fractures in juvenile T-Rex bones, evidence of pain accumulating alongside mass. Growth in Tyrannosaurus rex was not comfortable. You don't sleep well. You never will. The Yellowstone ecosystem in summer contains 4,900 bison, 1,200 elk, 700 pronghorn, 400 mule deer, plus wolves, grizzly bears, mountain lions, coyotes, ravens, and eagles. Every one of them has a place in the hierarchy. You are about to ruin all of it. You catch your first large prey in month 8, a juvenile pronghorn, 20 kilograms, that broke a leg in a gopher hole near the Hayden Valley. You didn't run it down. You walked up to it while it stood there, leg bent at an angle legs don't bend. It watched you approach with a calm that looked like acceptance. You ate for the first time that felt like eating. The ravens found you within 4 minutes. You let them circle. They were not a threat. You filed this away. Ravens, useful. Wolves, not a problem. Pronghorn with broken legs, ideal. Year 1, complete. 3 winters pass. You are now 4 meters long and 180 kilograms. The wolf packs have noticed you. They noticed you the moment you crossed from too small to bother into competition. The Druid Peak Pack has 17 wolves. They control the Lamar Valley, 1,200 acres of prime elk hunting ground. You moved into that valley 6 weeks ago because it has the highest elk density in the park. This was a logical choice. It was also a direct provocation. Wolves don't attack prey larger than themselves. This is a rule. The Druid Peak Pack doesn't know you're an apex predator. What they know is that you kill elk, you eat slowly, and every time you eat, They don't. The first test came on a Tuesday. You'd brought down a 280-kilogram bull elk near the tree line. You were eating when the pack arrived. 17 wolves spreading in a semicircle, the alpha pair moving forward, testing. You turned to face them. You were 4 meters long. They were each 40 kilograms. You opened your mouth. Not to bite, just to open it. What stopped the alpha male wasn't your size, it was your architecture. 1.2 meters from hinge to tip, 60 serrated teeth, forward curved nasal bones that made your face look permanently, cosmically enraged. Something in that arrangement triggered a memory encoded in mammalian DNA from the late Cretaceous. He had never seen anything like you, but somewhere in his lineage, something had. He stopped. He circled. He left. You went back to eating. The wolves cleaned up after you. This arrangement suited everyone. By year 3, you have established a territory, 11 square kilometers centered on the Hayden Valley. The wolves avoid it. The coyotes avoid it. The mountain lions haven't been seen in your range in 40 days. The ecosystem is already shifting. Elk that once grazed openly in the valley have pushed to the forest edges. Willows are recovering along every riverbank you now own. Ecologists have a word for this: trophic cascade. You are creating a second one, a bigger one. You don't know any of this. You just know the valley smells like yours now. The grizzly bear had not evolved to be afraid of anything. Ursus arctos horribilis, 180 to 360 kilograms. Bite force, 975 pounds per square inch, strong enough to crush a bowling ball. Claws, 10 centimeters long. In the Yellowstone ecosystem, grizzlies are the ecological equivalent of landlords. They go where they want, take what they want, and nothing argues. You were 8 meters long and 1.8 metric tons when the confrontation happened. He was a dominant male. 11 years old, 340 kilograms, scarred across the left shoulder from a previous territorial dispute. He came down the Firehole River at dusk, following the smell of your kill. A 700-kilogram bison cow you'd taken 2 hours earlier. You were still eating. He stopped 20 meters away, squared his body, rose to full height, 2.4 meters, made eye contact. You turned your head sideways and looked at him with one eye. This is not aggression in T-Rex body language. This is how they aimed. Forward-facing eyes, precision depth perception, the same reason eagles tilt their heads before they strike. You were measuring him. He charged. He made it 6 meters. What stopped him wasn't your size. It was your smell. At 8 meters and 1.8 tons, a T-Rex's breath carries compounds from protein digestion, hydrogen sulfide, trimethylamine, short-chain fatty acids, at concentrations that have no modern analog. It hit him like a wall. He stopped mid-charge, backpedaled 3 steps, shook his head. You didn't move. He circled left. You tracked with your head. He circled right. You tracked. For 4 minutes, the bear tested every angle, searching for weakness. There was none. He left. You went back to eating. You were not surprised. You had never been surprised by anything that challenged you. What surprised you, if T-Rex experienced surprise, was the silence after the challenge. How the valley went quiet when you were present. How the ravens stayed, but everything else gave you 50 meters minimum. You were starting to understand what you were.
The Yellowstone Caldera is 45 miles wide.
It last erupted 640,000 years ago and left a crater that modern humans built a national park inside. Underneath it, a magma chamber at 8 kilometers depth feeds 10,000 geothermal features, the largest active thermal system on Earth. You are 11 meters long, 6 metric tons. Standing above the Midway Geyser Basin at dusk, the Grand Prismatic Spring behind you, 112 meters wide, colored orange and green from heat-loving bacteria, reflects the last light of day in every color that has ever existed. There are 4,900 bison in this park. The Hayden Valley herd alone numbers 1,200 animals. You have spent the last 2 years learning the migration patterns, learning which stragglers fall behind, learning where the weak ones go to die. Today, you're not waiting for the weak ones. The herd moved at 3 p.m., pushing north along the Yellowstone River toward fresh grass. 1,200 bison. The thunder of their movement registered on Yellowstone's seismographs, the same instruments that measure volcanic tremors. You tracked them from the ridgeline, waited until the rear 300 were 3 kilometers from the main herd. Then you walked down the ridge, not fast, not slow. The first bison to see you stopped. The ones behind it ran into its back. The ones beside it turned. In 4 seconds, you had 300 bison trying to move in 12 different directions simultaneously. In 8 seconds, you had a stampede. Except for one, a 2-year-old bull, 600 kilograms, that had turned the wrong way. You took him in 30 seconds. The kill was clean. It is always clean now.
At 11 meters and 6 tons, nothing about how a T-Rex kills is clean. But nothing is wasted either. Every motion serves a purpose. You have made 847 kills since hatching. You know exactly how this works. What you don't know, what no living thing knows, is that there is a seismologist in a monitoring station 4 miles away who watched the bison stampede on his sensor screen, then looked out the window and saw your silhouette on the ridge against the setting sun. He sat very still for a long time. Then he called someone. They told him to stop working nights. You are 20 years old. 12.3 meters from nose to tail. 8.4 metric tons. The fossil record shows T-Rex lived to approximately 28 years maximum, which means you are entering prime age. The years when growth has plateaued, but experience has compounded. When everything you've learned since hatching converges into something that has no name in any language. Your bite force, 57,000 newtons, the strongest of any land animal to ever live on Earth. Your femur, a single thigh bone, is 1.1 meters long and weighs 100 kilograms. Your brain, 40 cubic centimeters, small for your size, but configured almost entirely for one purpose. Olfactory bulbs processing smells at 1 mile distance. Vision resolving objects at 6 kilometers. Inner ear calibrated for low-frequency ground vibrations. You are not intelligent. You are precise. What you haven't noticed, because you don't notice things that aren't prey or threat, is that you're alone. There are no other T-Rex. There has never been another T-Rex here. You hatched in a park placed by human decision in the exact geological footprint of Hell Creek Formation, the land where your species evolved, went extinct, and apparently refused to stay that way. You climbed to the top of the Caldera Rim on the 18th morning of the new year. The temperature? -22 Celsius. Your metabolism kept your core at 37 degrees. Your breath came out in clouds the wind tore apart before they reached 5 meters. Below you, the entire Yellowstone Basin. Bison herds crossing the snow in dark lines. Geysers firing. Old Faithful on its 91-minute schedule, like a clock the volcano set 66 million years ago.
And somewhere in this park, humans, scientists, rangers, researchers,
all of them now operating at the edges of your range, all of them pretending they're not. You stood there for 40 minutes, not hunting, not watching them. Not because you couldn't, because there was nothing left here worth the effort.
The question scientists would ask, if they were still willing to enter the park, is not how you got here. The question is, what happens to an ecosystem when the apex predator is an animal of this scale? The answer so far is, it reorganizes. Wolf populations in your territory dropped 60% in year 1, not from predation, but from territory abandonment. Their departure allowed elk to return to the valley floor. Your predation pressure kept elk numbers down anyway. The vegetation is recovering along every riverbank you patrol. The bears moved south. The mountain lions stopped coming entirely. The elk learned which valleys belonged to you, and then learned to live in the other ones. Yellowstone was designed to be a world without humans touching it. The largest intact temperate ecosystem on Earth, self-correcting, self-sustaining. They did not account for you. A single apex predator, 8.4 tons. And the entire web of Yellowstone is rewiring itself around the space you take up. Old Faithful erupts at 91-minute intervals. You have learned this. You come to the basin when the geyser fires because the heat rising from the vent creates warm air columns that carry smells from 60 miles away. You have learned to read the thermals the way a hawk reads them. You have learned to use the geology of this place. You are Tyrannosaurus Rex. You evolved for this continent. After 66 million years, you are standing on the ground your lineage knows. The geyser fired. The water column reaches 56 meters. 17 seconds of steam and spray and white noise loud enough that bison 3 kilometers away lift their heads. You do not move. This land remembers you, and you remember it.